If you're feeling like a fraud compared to other entrepreneurs, this video will show you why that comparison is literally impossible to make fairly. So I'm scrolling X yesterday and I see this post. Just hit 100K in my first year of business. If I can do it, anyone can. And immediately my brain goes, well, I didn't hit 100K my first year. I made like a few $1,000s. Am I bad at this? And then I see another post. Launched my course and got 500 signups on day one. And I'm thinking my course launch had like 12 people and 3 of them were family members doing me a favor. And by the end of my social media scroll, I'm convinced I'm the worst entrepreneur in history and should probably just go back to some other job. But then I did something that changed everything. I started researching the people behind these success posts. That 100,000 in their first year person, it turns out they had 10 years of industry experience. They had a strong network with 5,000 contacts from their previous jobs. They had a bunch of savings they could use to invest in their business. And they had a business partner who handled all the technical stuff, bringing them up to do this sort of work. The person who got hundreds of signups on day one, they had actually been building an audience for 3 years before their first course. They had tens of thousands of email subscribers from a previous business, and they had partnerships with 5 major influencers who promoted their launch. So what they called day one was actually day 1095 of preparation. And this is what isn't shown to the world. And here's what I realized. I, much like you, was comparing my chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. What we see on the surface, like an iceberg, is just the tip. It's just the 10%. We don't see all of the preparation, the work, the stories that contribute that are underneath the surface. So when someone posts about their success, they're not posting in the same chapter of the story that you're in. They're not even reading the same book half the time. Different starting points, right? Some people start with money, others start broke. Some start with networks, others start with nobody. Some start with experience and others start from scratch. And some start with support. Others start alone. So if you put your chapter 1 against someone else's chapter 20, of course, the results will look different. They're playing a completely different game with completely different resources. So here's what I did. I started tracking my actual progress instead of comparing it to where others are. And this is what I discovered. The first few months, you're just figuring things out, what you're selling, how you're getting people interested in your product. And then you're getting real feedback, getting people to use it. You're getting your first sales. And then after the first year, you want to learn from failures and iterate. And at the end of year 2 and beyond, you're finally finding what works and you're trying to double down on it, expand it, promote it, market. My timeline wasn't linear, it wasn't fast, it definitely wasn't Instagram worthy or even post worthy, but it was real. And when I stopped comparing my messy reality to other people's curated highlights, I could actually see that I was making progress. See, the only timeline that matters is whether you're further along than you were last month, last quarter, or even last year. Here's what I learned about building something sustainable. The real success formula is something like patience plus consistency equals compound growth. It's not genius plus luck equals overnight success or perfect strategy plus intensity equals quick results. Don't get stuck. People will try to trick you. The truth is actually way more boring. Every successful person I know has the same story. They started, they struggled, they kept going even when it felt pointless. They gradually improved and eventually the compound effect kicked in. There's not a hack for time. There's no shortcut for experience. There's no substitute for consistency. So here's your new comparison framework. Instead of comparing where you are to someone else's chapter 20 or book 2, I want you to ask, am I further along than I was 6 months ago? Am I learning faster from my mistakes? How about, am I building something that compounds over time? It just comes down to comparing yourself to yourself and not to others. Someone else's success doesn't make your progress less valid. Their speed doesn't make your pace wrong. Your only job is to be better than you were yesterday. If you want a framework for tracking real progress and building confidence in your own timeline, I've created a system that focuses on personal growth instead of external comparison. So stop measuring yourself against other people's highlight reels and start celebrating your own real progress. The link is in the description. It's called 21 Days to Products That Pay. And I'm sure YouTube has hooked up a banger for you to watch next. Enjoy.